くぞ
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and today we're going to talk about rock and roll sexiness. Ino here, who is absolutely beautiful. KOF All-Stars once again knocks it out of the park as far as the aesthetics of this beautiful creature here. Ino is actually a spectacular character, and I think anybody that's going to have this character is going to be pretty damn happy. Now, before we mention any more about her, I do want to touch on something that was asked from me in the last video, and that was about the gear project on May. How much CP did I have on May whenever I completed all the way to level 50? Well, for May, I had 60,000 CP, and it was actually pretty easy. I don't even think she needs this much CP. You probably get away with about 55,000. But as far as the build and what I had on her, I did use 2 imprint stones here. I maxed out 2 of her imprint stones, and then I also had a Akane set on this character, and this Zhongfei card here really adds an insane amount of CP to your character. It's actually a wonderful card. I mean, even if you have the Guilty Gear option cards like this card right here or this card right here, they're going to add a lot of damn CP to your May in order to get it done. You're not going to need max skill cooldown. The most important thing is just have as much CP as possible. Then you see your 3PG and this little card right here. So that's the amount of CP that I had whenever I did this with May. That's the build that I had when I did this with May. And Ino, since we're already here, actually completed all of this other one for me as well. She went all the way to level 50, and my Ino has about 60,000 CP. Now, I did cheat a little bit when it comes to Ino. She really didn't need this, but let me show you. So she's at level 20, right? My May's actually at level 30, but I actually used this set cards on her. And, you know, this set card does give an increased attack by 21%, but it also increases Guilty Gear Fighters' critical rate by 7% and their critical damage by 70%. And then you have a 50% chance to increase attack by 20% for 5 seconds when a Guilty Gear fighter lands a critical hit. And because you're getting this extra critical rate, you're going to be getting this quite often. There's no cooldown on this thing, so you're going to be getting it up a lot. You're going to have this increased attack by 20%, a whole lot, on top of the extra critical damage by 70%. So it's a really great card set. And this card set, with the current build that I have on my Ino right now, added about 10,000 CP to her. It's actually a wonderful set. I just have her 3PG. I don't have any cards here. And then I just used 2 cooldown cards. And I did go ahead and put 2 imprint stones on her and max those out for her. Her affinity is also at level 10, which is exactly where you want it. And Ino's just a really awesome character. I mean, she's got the poison attack damage increase. She has the attack increase. She's got 20% PG rate. She's got the critical rate increase. And along with that card set, I mean, she's going to have 10% critical rate, which is pretty damn awesome. She's going to do a lot of critical hits. But some cool things about this character is, one, she decreases the cooldown of the first skill by 0.5 seconds every time a basic attack lands. There's no cooldown on this thing, so if you're holding down your basic attacks and they keep hitting their opponent, the decreased skill cooldown is actually going to go down even faster. Like if you just hold down your basic attack button, or you keep tapping your basic attack and you keep landing those attacks, the cooldown is going to decrease a whole lot faster. It's actually quite insane. And then she deals poison damage equal to 5.5 times of remaining poison damage and removes the poison upon landing an active skill on poison target, only on a 2-second cooldown. This is going to be a big reason why Ino does so much damage, but on top of that, she has double dot. She also has shock damage, and there is no explosion on that. So even though with her poison damage, she actually removes the poison, while you have your shock applied, she's still going to do this dot explosion on top of the dot from the shock, and her damage is just for freaking nuts, guys. It's absolutely insane, right? And being on a 2-second cooldown is actually quite powerful. Now, against Nightmare Geese on Expert, where you actually need poison damage, she's not really the greatest. Her survivability really isn't the best compared to a lot of other characters in the game, or quite a few other characters in the game. And she just doesn't break the meter very fast because she keeps removing the explosion. I mean, whenever this 2-second window is up, you will see the meter kind of deplete quite fast, but it's just not fast enough. She just doesn't have good enough survivability. Plus her 3PG is the only thing that can actually prevent Geese from doing his Raging Storm. And that's something that's pretty awesome about her. I will show that here in a little bit. She also resets the cooldown of her Hyper Armor skill, which is her second skill, on a 10-second cooldown whenever you're applying shock damage, right? And then her PvP exclusive, 70% chance to remove buffs from the target's active skills upon landing an active skill. Pretty powerful PvP skill. And then, of course, she's got this nice Guilty Gear core passive where she increases attack by 35% if HP is 50% or more. So as long as she has more than 50% HP, she's got this extra 35% attack. And then she also decreases damage received by 70% for 3 seconds when accumulated attacks received guard included reaches 5 times. This is really her only means of survivability on top of having the hyper armor. But the fact that her hyper armor can actually get reset increases her survivability, at least in a lot of game modes. I do have max capsules on her. And as far as her skills, she has multiple blast skills, guys. So that first Inference Stone that you put on this character that increases blast skills is actually quite powerful for this character. And she does apply the poison damage for 9 seconds while landing a skill, but it's going to get removed immediately because of her dot explosion. That's kind of the thing. But she does also have the PvP exclusive disable target's active skills for 4 seconds upon landing an active skill. So she has 2 PvP skills that are really, really great. And then she also has the hyper armor. This skill can actually be reset, and it is limited when airborne. So whenever she gets knocked up in the air in PvP and you hit this skill, she actually can get right out of it and go into her attacks, which is pretty sweet. And then on her third skill, she increased her attack speed, which is really, really nice. And she also has a nice attack buff on top of applying shock damage for 7 seconds. So let me take her out of here and show you guys what she's actually can do here. We'll jump into Guild Raid and we'll go against Biken first. And I'll show you what she can do against Biken here. And we're going to go ahead and use her leadership. Her leadership is freaking awesome. The 60% increase for Guilty Gear fighters is pretty sweet. It's only niche to the Guilty Gear fighters, but still really great for these characters. Now, this girl can melt that damn meter, man. She's quite strong. Even if you don't have this card set, she's still going to be very, very strong. But obviously with the card set, you know, getting the extra, all that extra CP, having the extra critical damage, the extra attack, it is nice. I'm not going to lie. It is nice. And that second skill does an insane amount of hits, man. It's just nuts. Okay, and there we go. Let's go. Spamming away. And it's nice. I mean, like I said, man, that first Imprint Stone on for her that applies that extra blast skill damage. I mean, her first and third skill are both blast skills. So she really, I mean, benefits so much from that damn thing. And the second skill, watch this. I'll hit my basic attack. Look at how fast that damn thing, the cooldown trimmed up. There we go. And I always like to apply the dot from the shock before I go into the 3PG. And you'll see me do this with Nightmare Geese as well a lot. And we hold the basic attack down. Look at how fast that thing resets. And as soon as the meter breaks for... And... Booyah! Come on, girl. Come on, girl. Come on, girl. We gotta hit that hyper armor. And... we'll hit our 3PG. Ino is freaking awesome, guys. Seriously, very strong character. Doesn't have like the best survivability compared to like say other characters that have shields on them. Especially like a shield that applies whenever you get attacked. But she is quite strong. Not bad, right? Not bad. By the way, Moo Play is still playing very, very well for me. So, I mean, 260 million, right? This is a level 20 character. Not too shabby. Pretty damn good score. But it gets a whole lot better than this. I'm going to show you something that very, very few characters can actually do in this game. And I mean few. So, against Nightmare Geese here, this guy is a real nightmare. He does what's called a Raging Storm, and this is where he takes his hands, He smacks him down on the ground, and pretty much everybody in the screen gets stunned and takes an insane amount of damage. Well, a lot of characters in the game, like SS, BS characters, and evidently certain collaboration characters, whenever they do their 3PG animations, they actually can prevent Geese here from doing it. Ino is one of those characters. But the thing that makes her special against this thing is, one, you need shock damage on Lunatic, right? And on Lunatic, you can get some damn good rewards. You need 714 million. You get 4 keys per day. That means you can do this 4 times a day. And you need 714 million to really get the maximum rewards out of this thing. You can get these gold hammers. You can get these gold imprint stones. These things are double attack stones, man. So you get, this goes up to 10%, and this last stat goes up to 12%. So 22% extra attack on top of a certain dot. Very, very powerful stones are in here, on top of gold hammers and pairing kits, and all kinds of other resources that we use in the game. And Ino can actually solo this damn thing. She can actually do this on her own. And the only other character that I've seen be able to do this that has shock damage, okay, is BS Ignis. That's it. He's the only other character I've ever seen solo this thing that has shock damage. Now, there might be other characters that do an insane amount of damage and maybe can solo it. Maybe they can just break the meter by just, doing it that way. It is possible. But the fact that a collaboration character, a character that you can level up anytime you want in the game, a character that you can just make dimensional limitation tickets for, right? As long as you get this character and you got her 3PG, you can set her up. And I'm using, my face is actually in the way, but I'm actually using May as a striker. So I'm using the free-to-play character as a striker. And May is actually, I don't mean to click on that. May is actually really good because she has a nice little bonus for, if this black screen ever loads up. Oh, you gotta love the loading screens. But anyways, her striker bonus, increased attack by 10%, power charge rate by 7%, and decreased skill cooldown by 1 second. This is gonna allow Ino to go through her skills a lot faster. And then of course the active team members obtain 10% power. This bonus right here is always up no matter what. This one here you get whenever you bring the striker in. So we always are gonna have this extra attack, which is pretty damn cool. Now let me show you what this girl can actually do, man. This is freaking nuts. Oh, watch this. Watch this. This is crazy. So I start off with the second skill, and I use the third skill to apply the shock, and then I use the first skill to apply a little poison damage. And the idea is, while you have your shock applied to Geese, you want to have the poison applied also, so that way you can do your dot explosion and do insane amount of damage. You're not removing the shock damage, you're just removing the poison. So her damage is actually pretty crazy. This is a level 20 character, guys. And you watch, I'll never switch her. I'll never use any other character. I'll just solo completely with this character at level 20 against Lunatic, which is bonkers, my friends. Absolutely bonkers. Look at her, she's already gotten 100 million. Right? She's already hit 100 million in 30 seconds of this fight at level 20. That's nuts, my friends. That is crazy. Crazy strong character. Right? But you gotta be very careful when you're playing her, right? You gotta be very careful, because if Geese does do his Raging Storm and her decreased damage received is on cooldown from her core effect, man, she's going to take in a tremendous amount of damage. She's pretty much like a glass cannon. But you saw what I did there. Every time Geese goes into an iframe, it's like, "Aah!" Every time he does that, he's going into an iframe. So if you apply your shock at that point, or apply your poison or whatever, your attack is going to miss because he's in an invincibility iframe. So you have to be really careful of that whenever you're playing him. This goes without saying with a lot of characters that you use against this guy. But Ino especially, because you've got to make sure that your dots are applied before you're going into your 3PGs, before you're going into your default. Now, her default is really, really short. That is kind of a caveat to the character. But as you guys can see, we're doing really well. We're doing quite amazing. I haven't taken any damage at all from Geese so far. And her 3PG does interrupt him. It keeps him from doing the skill. Now, you saw what I did there. I hit my hype armor, I applied the poison, right? And then I applied the shock, so that way we make sure we get our explosion while the shock is engaged. Oh yeah, look at her go. And even though her default is really short, it does do a lot of damage, especially if you get the explosion off on it. By the way, guys, you see me tapping the basic attack. If you want to keep your basic attack going, you can just hold it down and it'll still keep attacking automatically. It's just a force of habit that I do that from playing other games that I play. Now there, the darkness did get applied because I had my Awaken skill ready. So I went ahead and started using it because as long as we have our hyper armor up, we're not going to take any damage from the darkness on the bottom of the screen there. And there we apply some shock. We use our 3PG. I mean, this is pretty nuts, guys. Remember, you need 714 million to get the maximum rewards. Now there I screwed up because I actually applied the shock while he was in iframe. So I screwed up right there. We would have actually done better if I wouldn't have done that. And I went ahead and switched my character here, okay? Because I knew I was going to die, right? But if I would have played that a little bit better, I would have done even better than what I did. I applied that shock damage while Geese was in that iframe. So we didn't, you know, we couldn't break his meter very fast. And because of that, that ended the fight a lot earlier. But as you guys can see, 361 million. 361 million, which means that in 2 keys with the build that I have right now, this character could absolutely get the maximum rewards from this thing. And like I said earlier, there's only one other character I know with shock damage that can do this. No other character in the game can do this. In fact, there might be a couple characters maybe that can solo this thing without having, you know, shock damage. I mean, there's characters like BS Leona that can do it. I hear Dizzy can actually do it as well from some of the feedback that I've gotten. But it's just a rare thing. And characters like that, like Leona, like Dizzy, like the caveat to them is that they are SS and BS characters. They are hard to level up because it's difficult to get memories for them. But this character, you can always level up in the game, which in my opinion makes her a lot more valuable, especially for free-to-play players, especially for newer players that are coming to this game. Characters like this are absolute godsends, and she's going to be amazing in Immortal Dungeons as well, guys. She's also going to be freaking godly against the Spider Robot, the Team Relay, the Dungeon of Trials here, because just like what I mentioned with May, you know, Chill and Shock actually weakens this boss where you actually break the meter. Well, because Ino has shock damage and it isn't an exploding shock damage, it doesn't get removed, she's going to be amazing for this damn thing. So that's also something to keep in mind. So this is a character that's going to be very well rounded for the entire game. She's going to be good in PvP. She's going to be amazing for guild raid, as you guys saw. Like, I mean, it does require some careful gameplay, but once you get it down, it's not that bad at all, man. She really is freaking awesome, and I'm loving the death out of her. So let me know how you're all feeling about Eno, and I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT plus 7 time. The link is in the description below, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See ya.